Today I have an interesting video to talk about. It's going to be more of a ramble. But I think the thumbnail is going to say something like the end of Commander, Commander is dead, etc., etc. Very dramatic. And I just want to talk about some thoughts that I have regarding the format that I've had for quite a bit now. So let's just start with where all this is coming from. As you probably imagine, if you're watching this video, hybrid rule is kind of floated being changing, right? And I'm not going to talk about hybrid rule that long because everyone else has done it. The thing that's interesting about this discussion is kind of the community's strong attachment to hybrid rule. So just quick level setting. If you don't know what I'm talking about, somehow maybe this is 5 years later and you decide to watch this video for some reason. At this moment in time, because I don't know, right? Your color identity of a commander prohibits you from playing cards that have split costs that can be paid with either color, like color A or color B, because the color identity rule of commander makes it so that you can only play within the color of your commander, right? A red commander won't let you play a red or white spell because the white pip is there, okay? So there's a proposal, not really a proposal, just kind of gathering feedback to see if we're okay with changing the rule so that the cards work kind of the way design intended the cards to work everywhere else in Magic, right? Kind of a big debate, kind of a big subject. I'll drop kind of quickly where I stand. And that's kind of, it's not important where I stand, actually. It's more so how everyone else stands. So I think the rule should just get changed. And I know like there's a lot of problematic reasons why, if you allow the hybrid rule to work, then can a mono red deck play Beseech the Queen because the mono colorless and the pips, etc., etc. What if like all the storm decks not to play Metamorphose and all your slots becomes optimized and there's no more room for creative expression, etc., etc. I know all this. We all know all this. Okay. The reason why I think hybrid should change, and it's tied to the subject of this video, the big one, the important reason, is it just doesn't matter anymore. Commander is dead. Okay. So let's unpack what I mean by this. I think it doesn't matter. And I'm the person who also thinks that vehicles could be a commander, right? That's a recent change. I had nothing to do with that one. I think I remember maybe. But I'm someone who is like, just let people play with cards, just whatever. This is the whatever format. People are just doing whatever they want. Why are we drawing lines, right? And there's an argument that people need lines to make choices, right? I'll unpack this, I swear to God, very soon. But my point is just, we are playing with a legacy plus vintage minus pool of cards. And through the inclusion of brackets, game changers, all these rules and guides and structures we put on top of it, we're able to create some sort of system that lets people play kind of reasonable games of Magic, right? So rules are good, right? Restrictions are good because without restriction, we just do whatever we want and no one has a good time. And now suddenly the Metamorphose in the Ral deck is going to be like a problem, right? It doesn't matter what I say here. What the interesting thing is a lot of people online who have played Commander for a long time or haven't really, really don't want the hybrid rule. Because the interesting part of this is that the hybrid rule, changing that is negatively impacting one of the core tenets of Commander. I guess not ironically, but fittingly, the color identity of your commander and the rule and the deck building, all that is tied to the identity of the format itself. It's what separates Commander from everything else. I think there's no other color restriction things. But I think the reason why, we are so attached to the hybrid rule is because the color identity is one of the last kind of bastions of what makes Commander, right? Of course, singleton, of course, 100 cards, of course, legendary creature, commander damage, all that's still here. But I think the issue, and this is why it's going to tie to the main subject of the dramatic title, Commander is Dead, is because what makes Commander this amorphous understanding of what we agree to, what we imagine the format to be, has radically changed in the last couple of years. And I'm not here to say this is bad or good. Okay, I'm just saying that it's different. Okay, and I want to describe what I think Commander is and why I think the hybrid rule change, or the proposal, or the even thought of it, right, is so egregious. So I'm just gonna kind of date myself here a little bit. I started Commander when the first Kaalia precon came out, right? And I'm sure at that point it's already too late, right? A lot of people are very displeased with kind of official products for Commander, right? I think at the time Commander was not as popular at all. It was kind of a weird thing that some people played. And it's just a thing you play on the side, right? And it's good that there are products made for it, because that's what made it popular, aside from other factors. But it's bad in the sense that there are now cards being made for it, right? The magic of Commander that we all try and capture is you find a legendary card that you think is cool, it's interesting, etc. Then you dig through your collection, or maybe Magic's collection, of X many cards, and find curate it into a deck list that makes sense to you, right? Either it's powerful, either thematically it makes sense, and then 4 players ram these 4 silly decks and see what's happened, right? And I played back in the day. I played Rafiq. I think the main out was if you play Seal the Godhead on it, super good. If you play Lost Sovereigns Alara, and you find my arm went weird just there. You find this Eldrazi Conscription, I think, really broken. If you played Narset, that was a big kind of scary card back in the day. Infinite combats or infinite turns with extra combats into turn spells. The card pool wasn't as wide back then. If you're gonna make an aura deck, an Uriel, a Rafiq, or I don't know, another one I can't think of at the moment, the choices are probably going to be the same. And back then, the cards were not designed for Commander outside of the precon products. Most of the cards were just 60 card chaff, right? That happens to be good in Commander because the game's slower. So there is this kind of magical quality that you get to find a card that works, and the deck just works, and you play a silly game, enjoy each other's time, and continue, right? And it became a great way to meet people and kind of have a consistent kind of schedule to play games of Magic that has no stakes, it's fun, etc. Right? So that was 10, 15 years ago, maybe. I don't know anymore. A little while ago. Totally different landscape. For a lot of you who have probably just started playing Commander in the last couple of years, maybe last year, maybe every year gets bigger and bigger. I imagine it's hard, for you to see a world where there are no precons every single month, maybe every couple of months. Back then, you get one set of precons and that's it. Those are the only cards that are designed for Commander, right? Every single set now, basically designed for Commander, has Commander supplementary products, has this, that, all that, right? Commander is the big star, right? And all this is to set up that I think it's just over in the sense of that Commander I'm talking about, that people are nostalgic for, people are chasing for, just doesn't exist. That's just a fact. There are really good cards being printed, the One Ring, right? If we didn't have a Game Changers system, probably everyone should play the One Ring, right? Mono Black has enchantment removal with Feed the Swarm. Every color has card advantage engines because we have understood that card, card draw, etc. Those kind of things are very strong in multiplayer, right? So to make each color kind of equivalent, we designed those things, right? We designed silly cards, but most cards that come out these days replace themselves by drawing a card and doing a thing, and etc. And it at some point, I kind of feel like it just doesn't matter at the end of the day what commander we play, what color we play, because it's all the same, right? It's all like you play this commander, you pick EDH Rex top 20 cards that synergizes with a very signaled theme. It's an Elves deck, it's a Landfall deck, it's a blank deck, and you have these clear cards that you upgrade to, do whatever, and then in a couple months, that elf commander is going to get replaced with another elf commander that's even better or slightly different, whatever, right? There's bajillion proliferate commanders, bajillion landfall, whatever. Like, at the end of the day, even if you play a monocolored deck, right? You have, and I'm kind of part of the problem is in our template, we have 8 to 16 pieces of removal, and depending on what color you play, it doesn't matter, right? We're going to have artifact removal. We're going to have a permanent removal. We're going to have creature, board wipes, etc., etc. Every color has it. If you play green, you have card draw. If you play red, you have, you don't really have counter spells, but you have a couple swats, etc. We're getting a little too in the weeds. The point is it's over. Every set, there's so many new cards. There's so many new tools. There's so many everything. And it's going to get more and more and more that the identity of commander that we hold so dear, it's gone. And we just have to face it, right? I'm not here to say it's good or bad. Again, if you kind of have this nostalgia for that commander, I understand it's bad. For me, who also has that nostalgia, I'm just so like cynical at this point that I just see this is the future of where we're going. So why apply rules? And then here is kind of what my identity of commander is, what I believe commander to be outside of everything I've talked about. I think commander is the only format in Magic where you make arbitrary choices to have a good time with friends. You are deciding, you are consciously choosing to make a deck underpowered. You are consciously choosing to add flavorful cards or making things suboptimal or making these decisions so that you can have a good time, right? It's the only format in Magic where the desire for fairness for each player to have, some equity in the game and being able to take some game actions. It's the only format that cares about that. Everywhere else doesn't. Everywhere else, if you play a deck against an unfair deck and you get stomped, sorry, play better deck. Or that's part of the thrill, right? Like that's what I love about, 60 card Magic. And if you haven't watched my other channel, not an advertisement, I love that stuff. But Commander is the only format where we choose to play this. We make all these arbitrary choices, and I'm saying arbitrary. It's not like a negative connotation. I'm just saying that we are consciously making these decisions that go against the grain, right? So let me just kind of come up with more examples, right? With the current bracket system, I have a bunch of people who send me like, well, according to bracket 3, where now it says that you can't win until turn 6. What if I designed a blank deck that combos right at turn 6 and blah, right? It follows none of the game, like it follows the game changers rule. Is that casual? Is that okay? And legally, like from a rules perspective, yeah, it's okay, but you are missing the point. You're missing the point that it's a social kind of game. Right. And that's cool. You'll find friends who want to play that version of Commander, and it's going to be a great time. Right. That's kind of the great difficulty of Commander, is that there's so many little microcosms or environments or metas or playgroup that everyone wants to play a different game. And that's great. That's a beautiful part of Magic. Right. That's the choice people are making for their own friends, for their own communities, etc. Right. So why am I fixating, or why am I focusing so much on the concept of choice and us making these decisions for other people and our own enjoyment? It's to highlight that the tough part about making kind of soft rules for Commander is you have to keep it wide enough where everyone kind of is able to do their thing, but strict enough where you get to kind of stop a lot of the bad feels, right? But there's a certain point where if that player decides to take that deck into a casual deck, like a more casual meta where people are not trying to play within the edges, right? And being like, I'm going to play a CDH deck that, wins on turn 6 or whatever with protection because defense grid is not a game changer, right? Our only rule is like, well, just tell them don't be a dick, tell them like, hey, this isn't what we're looking for, and we prefer not to play with you, right? Like, that is part of the choice, and that's part of the game environment we play in, right? So to like bring it back to hybrid and all the other stuff, vehicle commanders, etc. The argument is that if we open up commanders so much, people are just gonna play everything, and I think to some extent it's true. But the issue is even without hybrid, right? Even if we don't touch hybrid ever, people are already playing everything. People are making mostly very similar decks because the synergies and the card draw and the powerful cards that we design are so face up and so clear and so, universal that the deviation within decks is so low, right? I'm not here to say your deck is not unique. Okay. I know the point isn't that your deck is unique. The point is that you're playing cards you enjoy. So my decks are very, very not unique. I played a really cool Gwen deck recently, and I don't think the cards are that interesting. I found a couple of cool things, but they're all cards I enjoy. And I think that's kind of the magic of Commander, right? Still, you can still do that. You can still build the most templated, obvious Commander deck that EDH Rec or some AI thing generates for you. And that's okay. You don't have to be unique because you like the deck. You like playing it and you made those choices again, right? So my going back to the point, stay on point, is sure, Beseech the Queen, Metamorphose, etc., can replace everything. But everything is already taking that place. So what is the real value of allowing hybrid, right? I'm not here to fight for hybrid, by the way. I'm just using as an example of kind of the issue of the shifting identity of Commander. When I say Commander is dead, maybe the identity is dead, I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. Maybe it's something that we mourn for because there's change. Right. To me, it's the same thing as how every other format of Magic has constantly shifted its identity. Right. If you played Modern back in 2015, you look at Modern today, not the same Modern, not the same identity. You're not playing Tarmogoyf, right? Goyf is a commander token. How dare they? I'm personally offended by that, but it's whatever. It's also kind of funny, right? We have pizza lands, guys. We have pizza lands. We have Ninja Turtles. We have Universes Beyond, Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, Avatar in our Commander, Doctor Who, 40K. It doesn't matter anymore, but that's okay because we're still gonna make the choices that we will make forever so that we have a good time and our table has a good time. And I think that's kind of what I want to talk about today is what is the identity of Commander today? Or maybe, Commander's identity at its core. And is that it is an illogical, arbitrary, paradoxical game where winning doesn't matter. Can you imagine telling someone outside of Commander, outside of Magic, I play this game and winning doesn't matter? What? That's the first thing everyone's like, what do you mean winning doesn't matter? Don't you play games to win? No. It's like Monopoly. When you play Monopoly with your family, you get really angry at each other after Thanksgiving because, someone does something, breaks the rules, etc. That's Commander, right? But it's the only game where winning doesn't matter. We apply all these rules of let's tell a story. Let's be fair. Let's make things happen. Let's do this. Let's do that. Right. And somehow it all works. The chaos of it all is how it works. And the only way it works is because you make it work and people make it work. And I think like that's kind of still true even from the beginning of Commander, back when Commander first started. Can't comment too much on it. I wasn't that into it. I was on MTG Salvation looking at modern decks and seeing like what Splitter Twin build I should be doing. But I would still check out like the primers that people would write for like Sidisi and like other old commanders, and people being like, oh man, my favorite tech is blank card. And people will be like, oh, that's really cool. And people like talk like that is what Commander used to be. Right? You had to dig for it. You had to research it. You had to meet people, talk about it, experiment, and maybe you find something kind of cool, right? And that was it. Nowadays is not that. We have videos everywhere. We have recommendation systems. We have content creators like making decks for you, doing all the things, right? It's just different. But the thing that's still the same forever is that it's community driven. And, you know, despite how much product is being created for it, despite how maybe everything of Commander's original identity is under threat, right, of being changed. Maybe Commander damage will be changed. That's one rule I will fight for forever. Commander damage, it's gotta stay. It's gotta stay. You can't touch that. But let's say even that one gets changed, right? There's really nothing stopping people just keeping the old rule. And that's the magic of Rule Zero, the most misused phrase or whatever of Commander or Magic itself. The point is that none of this matters. The point is that we make a choice to create a good game environment for our friends and have a good time. That's the only thing that matters. And whatever we need to do to get there, that's what we do. So I don't really know what the outcome of this video is. You know, I'm not here to fight for hybrid. I know y'all love it, so I'm not going to push on it. I'm sure other people have made very good arguments for or against. I have my own perspective, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because y'all love it. And you know what? It is one of the core tenets of Commander. And if it is one of the last bastions of Commander's identity, maybe we take a little bit more time thinking about it, right? Because everything we lose, it's kind of big. So, I don't know. Thanks for watching. I swear I'm going to make like more Commander content. I'm really focusing on my Spike channel right now. I have a couple really cool things kind of like coming on the channel here. I've like written it, half edited it. I just need to do it. But thanks for watching. You know, the last video, I read through everything. I appreciate all your feedback. Let me know what you think. You know, for or against hybrid, what you think of Commander's identity is, anything I said that resonated with you, just let me know. I don't know how to end this video. It's good to see you all though. Okay. Bye-bye.